There comes a point in life when you must decide, do you want to be someone who's always available or someone who is truly valuable? Too many people confuse kindness with constant accessibility, and in the process, they drain themselves, lose respect, and wonder why no one values their time. The truth is this: being everywhere for everyone does not make you important, it makes you replaceable. But when you shift your mindset, when you stop scattering your energy and instead focus on building value within yourself, everything changes. Scarcity creates value. It's a principle that governs everything in life, from precious metals to priceless opportunities. What is rare becomes treasured, and what is common becomes ignored. Think about gold, diamonds, or rare art. People don't pay high prices because those things are always within reach. They pay dearly because they are scarce. The same principle applies to you, your time, your energy, and your presence. If you are always available, always saying yes, always showing up at everyone's convenience, your worth begins to fade in the eyes of others. But when you learn to manage your presence, when you choose wisely where and when you show up, people recognize your value. The truth is that availability without boundaries leads to invisibility. The more accessible you are, the less people pause to appreciate what you bring. They assume you'll always be there, always answer, always sacrifice, and therefore, they stop treating your time as precious. It's not because they are cruel. It's because human nature devalues what is easy to access. This is why so many kind-hearted, hardworking people find themselves overlooked, underappreciated, and taken for granted. They think generosity means always being present, but in reality, constant presence often robs them of the very respect they are trying to earn. Scarcity does not mean arrogance. It does not mean withdrawing from people or acting too important to be bothered. It means being intentional. It means learning that your time is the most valuable currency you have, and if you give it away freely without thought, people will spend it recklessly. Just like money, time must be budgeted, invested, and guarded. The more wisely you allocate it, the more valuable you become. Consider the way successful people operate. They do not say yes to every invitation, every request, or every opportunity. They know that their presence has weight, and they protect it fiercely. When they do say yes, it matters. When they do show up, people pay attention. Their scarcity creates demand, and demand multiplies value. If you want people to respect your words, your time, and your contribution, you must be willing to step back from over-availability and lean into purposeful presence. The irony is this: when you are always available, people assume they can reach you later. They don't listen with urgency. They don't take your time seriously. But when your time is limited, when your presence is not guaranteed, they lean in, they value it, and they remember. Scarcity creates anticipation. Anticipation multiplies appreciation, and appreciation fuels respect. Think about relationships. The friend who is always free, always waiting, always saying yes. After a while, others stop cherishing their presence. But the friend who values their own time, who makes space for themselves, who chooses carefully when to engage, when they do show up, it means something. Their words carry weight. Their presence brings energy. The same applies in business leadership and even family dynamics. Scarcity reminds people that you are not to be taken for granted. This is not about playing games, it's about self-respect. Every yes you give is a no to something else. Every moment you spend pleasing someone else is a moment you could have invested in your growth, your peace, your future. By being selective, by creating scarcity, you protect your greatest assets, your energy, your creativity, and your potential. And when you protect those things, you increase the value of what you bring to the world. So, ask yourself, are people overlooking you because you are too available? Are you always saying yes when you should be saying no? Are you giving so much of yourself away that nothing is left for what truly matters? If so, it's time for a shift. It's time to recognize that scarcity does not diminish your kindness or generosity. It elevates it. It ensures that when you do give, it is meaningful. When you do speak, it is heard. When you do show up, it is remembered. Scarcity creates value because it forces people to recognize the weight of your presence. Don't waste yourself on constant availability. Protect your time, guard your energy, and watch how, when you are no longer everywhere all the time, your worth begins to shine brighter than ever before. Protect your energy. It may sound simple, but it is one of the most important principles you will ever live by. Your energy is your life force. It fuels your focus, your creativity, your relationships, and your progress. Yet, too often, people waste it by being constantly available to every call, every text, every demand, every distraction, and the result is exhaustion, frustration, and mediocrity. You cannot pour into your future, your dreams, or your purpose if you are constantly being drained by everything and everyone around you. Energy is like a battery. If you keep running it without recharging, it dies. If you keep giving it away without boundaries, you run on empty. When you are constantly accessible, people will keep pulling from you, not necessarily because they want to harm you, but because you've taught them that your energy has no limits. The truth is, when your energy is spread thin, your focus disappears. You are present everywhere but effective nowhere. And life begins to feel like a cycle of doing, giving, and running with no real excellence, no real fulfillment. Boundaries are not selfish. They are necessary. Just as a dam directs the flow of water to generate power, boundaries direct your energy to create impact. Without boundaries, water spills everywhere and loses force. Without boundaries, your life feels scattered, and your strength gets wasted on things that don't matter. Protecting your energy means you decide who gets access to you, when they get access, and how much access they are allowed to have. It means you learn the power of no without guilt, because every no to the wrong thing is a yes to the right thing. Ask yourself, how many times have you said yes out of obligation, only to regret it later? How often have you stayed in draining conversations, environments, or relationships because you felt guilty leaving? Every time you do that, you trade your energy for approval, and approval will never refill your tank. Protecting your energy means learning that your peace is more valuable than pleasing people. Your purpose is more important than meeting every demand. Your growth is more vital than being constantly accessible. Excellence requires energy. The people who achieve greatness in any field are not the ones who scatter themselves thin, but the ones who know how to guard their focus. They preserve their mornings for vision, their nights for rest, their time for what matters most. They don't answer every call. They don't jump at every request. Why? Because they understand that constant availability is the enemy of excellence. You cannot master your craft, build your dream, or walk in your calling if you are drained by distractions. Protecting your energy creates the space you need to excel. You are responsible for your energy. Nobody else will protect it for you. People will take as much as you allow, and life will keep throwing demands at you until you decide what matters most. Protecting your energy is not about shutting people out. It's about letting the right people in. It's not about isolation. It's about intentionality. It's choosing the conversations, the commitments, and the environments that feed your spirit rather than deplete it. Remember this: every time you say yes to something that drains you, you are saying no to something that could grow you. Your dreams require focus. Your calling requires clarity. Your peace requires protection. Boundaries are the guardrails that keep you on the path of purpose. And without them, you will wander into chaos, fatigue, and regret. So, start today. Protect your mornings, protect your thoughts, protect your heart, protect your space. Decide that your energy is too valuable to be wasted on every distraction, every demand, every drama. Because when you guard your energy, you give yourself the freedom to show up in life with strength, with focus, and with excellence. And when you do that, the world won't just see someone who is available, they will see someone who is valuable. Invest in growth, not approval. It sounds simple, yet many people spend most of their lives doing the opposite. Too often, we exhaust ourselves trying to please everyone, chasing compliments, adjusting our behavior to avoid criticism, bending our boundaries to gain acceptance. The tragedy is that approval is fleeting. It shifts with moods, opinions, and circumstances. What one person praises today, another will criticize tomorrow. If you live for approval, you will die from rejection. But when you shift your focus to growth, building your skills, deepening your knowledge, strengthening your character, you create a foundation that cannot be shaken by applause or silence. Approval is shallow, but growth is solid. You can win people's approval and lose yourself, but you cannot invest in your growth without becoming stronger, wiser, and more valuable. Approval depends on what people think of you, but growth depends on what you decide to build within yourself. When you invest in growth, respect follows naturally. People may not always like you, but they cannot ignore the strength of someone who is constantly improving. Respect is drawn to growth the way flowers lean toward the sun. The problem with chasing approval is that it keeps you on a leash. It forces you to move to the rhythm of other people's opinions, which are unstable and unpredictable. You'll never be free to walk your path if you're constantly checking over your shoulder to see if everyone approves. Growth, however, is internal. It's about deciding that you will show up better tomorrow than you did today. It's reading when others are scrolling. It's practicing when others are sleeping. It's refining your attitude, your work ethic, your resilience, so that you are not just liked, you are unshakable. Think about the people you admire most. Chances are they were not the most agreeable or the most available. They were the ones who invested in their growth. They built skills that set them apart. They developed character that could withstand storms. They deepened knowledge that allowed them to lead, inspire, or innovate. Their growth made them valuable, and that value attracted respect far beyond what empty approval could ever bring. Approval is like sugar, sweet for the moment, but quickly gone. Growth is like nutrition, sometimes hard to digest, but it builds strength for a lifetime. Approval will make you feel good temporarily, but growth will make you effective permanently. When you invest in growth, you no longer need to beg for recognition because your results will speak louder than any compliment. People may not clap for you every step of the way, but when the fruit of your growth shows up, even your critics will have no choice but to respect what you've built. This shift requires courage because it often means disappointing people. Growth will sometimes isolate you. You may have to say no to social invitations in order to study, practice, or train. You may have to ignore opinions that tell you to settle when you know you're made for more. But remember this, the people you lose by choosing growth were never invested in your greatness. They were invested in your availability. The people who matter will respect your commitment, even if they don't understand it at first. Growth compounds. Every day you invest, even in small ways, builds momentum. Read one book, practice one skill, adjust one habit, and soon you are not the same person you were yesterday. While others are chasing likes, you are chasing excellence. While others are chasing followers, you are chasing mastery. Approval fades, but mastery lasts, so stop asking, do they like me? And start asking, am I growing? Stop living for claps that end the moment you leave the room, and start building value that follows you wherever you go. Approval might win you attention, but growth will win you respect. And respect is the soil in which opportunity grows. Invest in growth, not approval. Because when you build yourself, the world will eventually recognize what you carry. And even if they don't, you will stand taller, stronger, and freer, because your value will no longer depend on anyone's opinion, but on the undeniable evidence of your growth. Quality over quantity. It's a principle that applies to everything in life, but especially to your presence and the way you show up in the world. Too many people think that value is measured by how often they are around, how frequently they speak, or how many hours they give. But true value is not found in being constantly visible. It is found in the impact you leave when you are present. One meaningful conversation can outweigh 100 empty ones. One act of wisdom can carry more power than 1,000 rushed gestures. Being valuable is not about showing up everywhere. It is about making sure that when you do show up, your presence makes a difference. Every interaction you have is an opportunity. You can choose to be forgettable, or you can choose to be impactful. Think about the people who have influenced your life the most. Chances are it was not because they were always with you. It was because in the moments you did encounter them, they left something behind, an idea, an encouragement, a challenge, or a perspective that stayed with you long after they walked away. That is quality. That is value. Quantity can sometimes deceive us into thinking we're doing enough. We believe that if we show up at every event, answer every call, and fill every schedule, Then people will notice our effort and respect us. But the truth is, presence without impact is just noise. People don't remember how often you were there. They remember how you made them feel, how you shifted their perspective, how you solved a problem, or how you inspired them to move forward. If your presence does not bring something meaningful, then your availability is empty. Being valuable requires preparation. It means you are intentional about what you bring into every space. You don't just walk into a room. You enter with something to contribute, whether it's wisdom, encouragement, or a solution. You don't just engage in conversations. You listen deeply and respond in a way that adds clarity or strength. You don't just fill time, you elevate the atmosphere. That is what separates someone who is merely available from someone who is truly valuable. The world is saturated with voices, opinions, and noise. But very few people rise above the crowd by choosing quality. When you decide that your words will carry thought, your actions will reflect purpose, and your presence will lift others, you set yourself apart. People begin to seek you out, not because you are always accessible, but because they know that when they encounter you, they will leave better than they came. Think about this. A few minutes of advice from the right person can change the direction of your entire life. That is the power of quality. Likewise, your ability to bring value in a single encounter can make you unforgettable. This is why it's so important to focus on what you bring rather than how often you show up. If every word you speak is careless, if every action is rushed, then your presence loses power. But if your presence is rare and impactful, people will treasure it, protect it, and respect it. Choosing quality over quantity also means protecting your time and energy so that when you do engage, you bring your best self. You cannot be valuable if you are exhausted, distracted, or scattered. Boundaries create the space for excellence, and excellence is what makes your presence meaningful. Instead of being spread thin, you concentrate your energy where it matters most. That is where your true value is seen. At the end of the day, the measure of your life will not be how many places you appeared or how many conversations you had. It will be the impact of your presence. Did your words bring wisdom? Did your actions bring solutions? Did your spirit bring inspiration? Those are the questions that define value. So, stop trying to multiply your presence through constant availability. Start multiplying your value by ensuring that every time you show up, you leave something unforgettable behind. One powerful moment of quality will always outweigh a lifetime of shallow presence. Remember, it is not about being everywhere. It is about making every presence count. Quality is what makes you valuable, and value is what changes everything. Teach people how to treat you. Whether you realize it or not, every interaction you have with others is training them. You are constantly communicating what you will tolerate, what you expect, and how you want to be regarded. If you allow people to misuse your time, they will. If you let them ignore your worth, they will. But when you stand firm in self-respect, set clear boundaries, and value yourself, others are forced to adjust. The way you see yourself becomes the standard for how others see you. People learn from your behavior. If you answer calls at any hour, respond to every request instantly, and never say no, you silently tell others that your time is not valuable. Over time, they begin to treat your time as cheap because you have treated it as cheap. Availability without boundaries teaches others to misuse you, not out of malice, but because you have shown them that you are always accessible, always ready, always willing, even when it costs you. Human nature devalues what is too easy to access. That's why constant availability lowers respect, while healthy boundaries raise it. When you value yourself, you send a clear message. You show that your time is not free, your energy is not endless, and your presence is not to be wasted. This is not arrogance, it's wisdom. You are not shutting people out. You are teaching them that your life has weight and that your contribution is worth something. Those who genuinely respect you will honor your boundaries. Those who only wanted to use you will be frustrated when you stop saying yes to everything. But their frustration is proof that you are teaching them differently. Self-respect is contagious. When you walk into a room with confidence, people notice. When you speak with clarity and conviction, people listen. When you guard your time and energy, people adapt. Boundaries don't push people away. They attract the right ones closer. The wrong ones may fall off, but the ones who stay will be those who respect you, value you, and honor your presence. And isn't that what you want? Not a crowd that uses you, but a circle that treasures you. Teaching people how to treat you also means being consistent. You cannot demand respect in one moment and compromise in the next. If you draw a line, keep it. If you set a standard, honor it. People test boundaries, not necessarily to harm you, but to see if you mean what you say. Every time you reinforce your standard, you strengthen your reputation. And over time, people learn, this person values themselves and I must value them too. Think of it like training a muscle. The first time you lift, it feels uncomfortable. The first time you say no, it feels awkward. But the more you practice, the stronger you become. Soon, saying no without guilt feels natural. Soon, keeping boundaries is second nature. And as you do, you notice a shift, not only in how others treat you, but in how you treat yourself. You stop apologizing for existing. You stop shrinking to fit. You stop handing your energy away carelessly. You start living with intention, knowing that your time and presence are investments, not giveaways. Teaching others how to treat you is about more than interactions, it's about destiny. If you allow misuse, you will never have the strength to pour into what truly matters. But when you guard your space, when you value your worth, when you protect your time, you free yourself to grow, to focus, to build, and to excel. You position yourself for opportunities that align with your value instead of distractions that drain it. At the end of the day, you cannot control how everyone sees you, but you can control how you allow them to treat you. And the truth is, people will rise or fall to the standard you set. Show them that you are valuable, and they will treat you as valuable. Train them that you are always available, and they will treat you as disposable. The choice is yours. Value yourself first, and the world will learn to follow your lead. Value leads to opportunities. This is a truth many overlook in a world that glorifies hustle, constant availability, and being everywhere at once. But if you study the lives of those who rise, those who are chosen, and those who are remembered, you'll notice something important. They are not always the ones who were the most available. They are the ones who were the most valuable. The world doesn't reward those who scatter themselves thin. It rewards those who sharpen themselves deep. Doors don't open simply because you showed up often. They open because when you did show up, you carried something worth noticing. Think about it, a diamond is rare, and because of its rarity, it is sought after. People don't chase after gravel even though it's available everywhere. Why? Because gravel has no extraordinary value. The same principle applies to life. If you make yourself constantly available to everyone, you become like gravel, easy to find, easy to use, and easy to forget. But if you focus on developing your worth, sharpening your skills, cultivating wisdom, and building strength of character, you become like the diamond, rare, respected, and sought after. People wait for diamonds, but they overlook gravel. The truth is, doors of opportunity open for those who stand out. Employers, leaders, and influencers don't go searching for the most accessible. They look for the most capable. They don't ask, who can I find instantly? They ask, who can deliver excellence, who carries solutions, who adds undeniable value? If all you bring is availability, you will be overlooked. But if you bring excellence, depth, and uniqueness, you will be pursued. The greatest opportunities rarely go to the loudest or most present. They go to the ones who prepared quietly, consistently, and intentionally until their value could not be ignored. This is why your focus must shift from chasing opportunities to becoming the kind of person opportunities chase. Too many people beg for doors to open while neglecting to build themselves into the person who deserves to walk through them. Opportunity recognizes preparation, it recognizes skill, it recognizes discipline, and it rewards those who refuse to settle for mediocrity. When you carry value, you don't have to force yourself into rooms. Your presence will be requested. You won't have to beg to be seen. Your results will make you visible. The world has no shortage of people who are always available, but it is starving for people who are excellent, reliable, and impactful. That's why value attracts attention. That's why value creates demand. And that's why value opens doors. When you become the person who can solve problems, inspire action, or bring clarity, people will make space for you. They will find you. They will want you. They will honor you, not because you pushed your way in, but because your value left them no choice. Understand these opportunities are not luck. They are the intersection of preparation and timing. And preparation is simply the daily investment of building your value when no one is watching. It's studying when others are scrolling. It's practicing when others are distracted. It's refining your skills while others waste time. Because when the moment comes, when the opportunity arrives, only the prepared can seize it. Everyone else will watch as the prepared step forward. So ask yourself, are you spending your life being available? Are you spending your life becoming valuable? Are you filling your calendar with noise, or are you filling your soul and mind with growth?